Today I'm speaking with Nancy. She's from Tanzania. She was born with albinism. She works as a commercial performance analyst. Thank you, Nancy, for joining this podcast. Could you briefly introduce yourself?
Thank you very much. I'm Nancy from Tanzania, as you said, working at Serengeti Breweries. It's one of the biggest breweries companies in Tanzania. I work as a commercial performance analyst. I'm 25 years old. I live in Dar es Salaam region here in Tanzania. Yeah, and thank you for having me in this podcast today.
Do you have any hobbies apart from working?
Yes, I'm athletic. Most of the time I spend almost every day. I take a few minutes to run. I also attend some few marathon over the year. I love running. It's one of the things that keeps me, energized with everything else. Apart from that, I love watching movies. I love karaoke. I can't sing. That's why I usually engage in karaoke. I feel like it's the only space where I can just sing as bad as I can. Yeah, so I enjoy karaoke. I usually go for karaoke nights every Wednesday and socializing and engaging with people.
In Tanzania, you have the very hot burning sun. Is that sometimes difficult when you are running? So, does your albinism affect your daily life, for example, with running?
Not really. I usually spend most of my running time is either early in the morning where the sun is not out yet, or evening where the sun is down. So I usually take that time to run.
And because of your albinism, you look kind of different, unique. Does that also affect you in your community? For example, to make friends, or with swimming, that people maybe ask why you have albinism?
Yeah, I think, well, I don't get so many questions nowadays compared to when I was a little bit younger. Whenever you're around kids are curious naturally. So I used to get a lot of questions when I was at a very small age. Currently, I'm old enough hanging out with old people. So whenever I guess to them asking questions, I possibly they know or possibly they don't, but they just don't want to know, or maybe they're afraid to ask because they would look ignorant, or So yeah, the kind of questions I'm getting currently is not as much as when I used to get them when I was at a very small age, because I was surrounded with kids, and kids have a lot of questions.
Were those questions ever silly questions?
Yes, practically yes. Yeah, like someone would like, why are you white while the rest of us were black? Like, to us, the level of ignorance is very high.
So, do you have advice for other persons who face also those sometimes silly questions?
To me, I would say is we just need to be comfortable. First, we need to feel comfortable about the questions that people would ask. Maybe because yes, they don't know, but others they're just trying to understand whatever is going on. Not everyone would understand whatever is going on with us, the genetics and stuff. So we just need to feel comfortable. If we have the energy we need to feel comfortable explaining to them how this comes along and how are we different from them.
So, in some countries, persons with albinism face discrimination. How do you think we can fight discrimination?
Okay, I believe one of the core reasons or source of discrimination is ignorance. People are just ignorant of whatever is going on with us, the color of our skin, what's the origin, what's the cause. So the only way to curb this problem is we provide awareness as much as possible. Every single person to be aware, to understand that people with the albinism are just like any other human. They're just missing the melanin that gives them skin color, the eye color, and the rest. So that simple understanding would actually make people understand that we're just normal human beings and we're not supposed to be discriminated.
I also think that sharing your experience is also a good way to educate and in order to fight discrimination. Do you have any stories or anecdotes you want to share?
One of the very few many things, of course, that I'm very proud of myself is my career success. And the moment I completed my undergraduate courses, I was immediately employed by one of the biggest, as I said, the biggest is the second brewery company in Tanzania. It's called Serengeti Brewery. So I've been employed there as a full and permanent employment, with fully employed there, working as a commercial performance analyst. The company trusted me. They believed that I can bring something on the table. I did well in my studies. I did well in my interviews, and I went through probation, 6-month probation. They went through every thing that they wanted to know whether I could actually handle the job, and I was actually good at it. So within the first 6 months of the employment, I was able to do everything I was needed to do in my job description, and I even did more. So to that point, it shows how much I'm able.
So you know how to take care of yourself. For example, put sun cream on when you go outside, or stay physically fit. But some persons with albinism do not know. They are not aware of their disability and how they also can engage in sports. What do you want to say to those children or those people?
My ability to be able to take care, especially my skin, my ability to be able to take care of my skin and everything else is highly contributed by the fact that I was raised by a mother who also had albinism. So she had enough experience of how to take care of her skin, and of course she passed it to me. So to me, my argue will be to the parents and the guidance of the people with albinism, if they're kids or adults. They need to take care of the skin. They need to understand. They need to learn how to take care of the skin, because this is our biggest asset. So it can also be our biggest liability. If we look good and we feel good, then we'll be able to do anything that we want. We'll be confident to do anything that we want because our skin looks good and we won't be afraid of ourselves.
So how did your peers look to your albinism at, for example, in your early life with school, but now with work?
Yeah, so when I was at school, as I said, I was the brightest kid. So most of the time, people usually used to make friends. It would be very easy for me to make friends because I would always support them in one way or another in my studies. And they would, I was confident because my teacher loved me, my teachers and people around, the workers at school, they all loved me. I went in a building school, by the way. So they used to take care of me, and that gave me confidence. It was very easy to make friends with everybody else. And being smart and being loved by everyone else, it was also easy for them to cope with me.
Did you ever also encounter superstitions about albinism?
When I was around 8 years old, I used to go to this primary school. It was just a few blocks away from my home. By the time I used to walk there to school very early in the morning, around 6-ish or 6:30, I was walking to go to school. And by that time, it was where the killings of albinism in Tanzania was at a very high rate. So I recall this day waking up in the morning and leaving my place. It was still dark by that time, leaving my place, and I felt like a certain car was trying to chase me, like it was following me behind. I felt like someone was following me for some time. Then I knocked in someone's house before the school. I knocked in someone's house and just entered in, and I told them, like, I feel like someone is following me. So I entered there and I left the car pass on. That's the only moment that I felt threatened. But that time, because the killings were at a very high rate, then afterwards I told my parents, and I was enrolled in the school bus. So I was taking school bus afterwards. But the superstition beliefs and the killings, they mostly take place in the places in villages, most villages and rural areas. I've spent most of my time in the cities since I was a very young age to this point. So Yeah, they are those things are, as I said, they are in the rural and village areas. They're taking place, but I haven't really experienced them directly as other than that case that I told you about. Yeah, that's all what happened to me.
But were you still scared that you would face those attacks now? Or are you not afraid anymore?
Now, not really. Now, it actually now it's coming down at a very high rate. The killings have really reduced. I'm grateful for that. The government, and we have several NGOs that they have really tried. They have really done a better job to make sure that those things do not happen again. But back then, yeah, it was very scary. I used to be scared to go to school. I used to be scared to come back to school. I'd make sure before the dark comes in, I'm inside, and nobody allowed me to go outside at midnight. We used to have a security guard, but the killings after the increase, they had to increase. We had two of them. They were employed to make sure that nothing really happens, because they usually even they would break into to conduct such violence. So it was scary. It was very, very scary. I recall listening to news in the evening with my parents, and we hear the news reporting people have been killed because maybe some superstitions believe. So it was very, very scary.
Were you able to talk with other persons with albinism about your fears, or was it just you?
Well, as I said, I recall I told you my mother also she also has albinism. After she passed away, she was a person with albinism. So we were two in the family. She also had some friends who had kids, and so there was a certain kind of community that we had. She used to. I was a kid and really didn't engage in those conversations. But I know my mom and my other parents were worried about me. There are people who have experienced that, and to them, it's a very devastating experience. It's something that they would rather not talk about it. Of course, it's a conversation that we have to talk about, but they would rather not talk about it because it's just hurtful and devastating to them.
Yeah, I can never imagine their experience or their fear, but I just saw some documentaries and that was also already frightening. And then I was not in that position. I cannot imagine how it feels like to be in that position. And I'm here in the Netherlands, safe, and I still want to help you, not empower you because you are already empowered. You have a lot of power and you fight for your rights. But I, as a Dutch person from Chinese descent, still want to help you in the best way I can. But what is for you the best way that that other countries can help you in stopping all the killings? And is that even possible?
Yeah, it is very possible. And I believe if we really put in the work in giving the right awareness to the people, to us, our biggest problem is ignorance. I feel like that's the biggest problem. To them, being albinism is not something normal. So if we change that kind of mindset, then we really make a difference.
So, do you have anything else to share with us or a message you want to give to us?
Well, mine would be first, thank you very much for the good work you are doing. I would one thing that I always appreciate is someone who actually do something to change. There's looking at especially countries in Africa. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. Whatever we're doing currently, it's not even close to what we needed to do to change the whole situation. So my call out to every albinism out there, we need to make a lot of noise. We need to showcase our success. We need to showcase ourselves so that the others who are not able to be there, the kids who are out there, they can be encouraged, they can feel confident that they can do it. that's what I want to call out today, that we really need to show up and make a lot of noise out there.
Wow, beautiful message. Thank you very much for joining this podcast. And thank you to our listeners for joining in today. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. Thank you very much and be kind. Have a nice day.